I'm back in New York City, the greatest city on earth, and this has now become an annual summer trip for me. I'm here for photography, meeting up with some friends, and looking at watches. There are plenty of watch stores to visit, and it's also restaurant week, so I'll make it a point to try to visit some more restaurants while I'm here. As usual, I drove to New Jersey, parked my vehicle at the station, and took the train into the city, into Penn Station. Coming into Penn Station, it almost looks like an underground mall and is centrally located, and it's a short walk to my hotel. But unfortunately, it was late by the time I got there, so there wasn't much time other than to check into the hotel, get some food, and try to go for a walk and try to do some nighttime photography. It's great to be back in the city, but just like I remembered, New York City hits all five of your senses all at once. The constant noise, the visual stimulation, even the smell coming from underground. And just like last year, I think I'll be glad to get back to some peace and quiet after this trip. For the first morning, I had made an appointment to view some pre-owned watches at the 1916 company. And I don't know how to describe this visit other than surreal. There's no signs on the outside of the building, and I would not have known where to enter without looking at the number on the building. At the reception lobby desk, they direct you to the elevator to the fourth floor. Stepping out of the elevator, the hallway was dark, and the lights only turned on when the motion sensors were activated. After ringing the bell, they asked through the speaker whether I had made an appointment, and then they let me through the door. And inside was a huge and beautifully appointed space with a bar area, tables, and display cases on the wall. But the strange and surreal part is that it was totally silent in a spacious area, and I saw no one else while I was there except this one sales associate. It almost seemed like it was a holiday and they were closed, and I asked him if he was the only one there, and he said there were other people working in their other offices on the other floors. I had made the appointment to view some pre-owned FP Journe, but they also have some other pre-owned brands. This is the Chronometra Blue in 38 millimeters, a beautiful watch, but not for sale since it had just been sold. I had asked to see some of the smaller watches, and this is another 38 millimeters, a nice sized case, and it looks like a salmon colored dial. I asked him how much this was, and now I'm doubting myself whether I remember hearing him correctly, but I believe he said this was $435,000. This is a great looking pre-owned Patek Philippe that I also saw in the display case, and this is selling for under retail. This is the full gold perpetual calendar chronograph. Unfortunately, this would be too large for my wrist, but it's a beautiful bracelet and beautiful case and dial. I set this down next to my perpetual calendar, but he didn't seem too impressed by my watch. Close by is Tiffany and Company, which I had passed walking to 1916. And as I passed, it was before opening time, just before opening, and there was already a line formed outside the door on a Friday morning. The Patek Philippe salon is located off to the side on the seventh floor. It's a beautiful, quiet, and private space. And just like last year, I think they have the largest selection of exhibition pieces that I've ever seen in one place. The sales associate was very nice and welcoming, and this time the only piece that I wanted to try on was the 6159G retrograde perpetual calendar. This is a beautiful piece with a partially transparent dial, but it is somewhat large for my wrist and I think a bit too large for me. I didn't have a long time to stay because I was scheduled to meet up with someone else, but the Omega Boutique was on the way back, so I stopped in. Even though I'm not in the market for a new Omega, I wanted to see the relatively new Aquaterara in 38 millimeters with the black lacquer dial. And this looks nice, and this would be a good all-around watch. But now I need to head over to Madison Square Park to meet someone. I was here to meet with a new viewer to talk about Leica cameras, and I think this was the only time that we were both free to meet. But it was a great conversation, and I had fun sitting down to talk about Leica cameras. And Madison Square Park is a nice place to visit, probably one of my two favorite parks, along with Bryant Park. Next, I had a reservation for a late lunch at Hawkmore, which is a British steakhouse that expanded into the US. For Restaurant Week, they have a fixed price menu, which is two courses for $60. But it turns out I really didn't need the reservation because it was mostly empty inside at the time that I came. The interior is designed as a high-end steakhouse with the wood paneling on the walls and the high vaulted ceilings. There was plenty of space inside, and it was quiet, but not too quiet and not too loud. I was worried about the dress code because I was wearing shorts and sneakers, but that was no problem because they have no strict dress code. Even the waiter was wearing a light washed jeans under his apron. The restaurant week menu was two courses for $60, so you could get an appetizer and a main, or a main and a dessert, or you could order off the regular menu. I think Hawksmoor has the reputation of being an overpriced steakhouse, and I think that might be justified because the prices on the regular menu were pretty high. For the appetizer, I ordered the oyster trio, which was delicious. It was nicely prepared and tasted fresh. But after eating these three small oysters, it felt like I hadn't eaten anything at all. And they did not give you bread prior to this, which would have helped to make me feel a little bit more full. And for the main, I ordered the Chateaubriand filet. And again, this was delicious, nicely seasoned with a seared crust and very tender inside. It was ordered as medium rare, and I think they achieved that perfectly. This is a dry aged steak, and this might be in the top 10 of the best steaks that I've ever had, maybe in the top 5. But again, this was a very small portion, just four slices of steak. Most of the plate was taken up by the fries, which are fried in beef fat. These are decent fries, but I did not notice any extra flavor to these, and they were somewhat over seasoned. The inside was soft, and the outside was very crispy. I did not finish all the fries because that's just too many fries to eat in one sitting. So I ate everything else, and I felt satisfied, but I did not feel full at the end of the meal. The final bill was $65.33, and with the tip, it was $80. Overall, the oysters and the steak were delicious, good if you're willing to spend the money. But I think I agree with some other people who say that I think this restaurant is a little bit overpriced. After this, I headed over to Pete's Tavern to have a drink and meet with a friend. Pete's Tavern is a old and historic establishment, and inside the walls are covered with pictures and photos of celebrities who have visited this place. My friend was wearing his 40 millimeter day date in white gold, which was a new acquisition for him. At first, I thought it was a black dial, but then when I got a closer look, it is the blue dial. So this is a dynamic watch face and looks great, just like all the Rolex blue dials. But more importantly, thanks for the great conversation and a great ending to the day. Next morning, I took a walk along Fifth Avenue, and off to the side is the Diamond District, which also includes several watch stores selling pre-owned Rolex. And these windows are full of dozens and dozens of Rolex, and these are all pre-owned, and most of them looked very well used. There's even more Rolex inside, but I didn't bother to go inside or look at any of these watches or ask about their prices. Now I'm at Bryant Park, another great park, an oasis of greenery and a little bit of quiet compared to the city. In the summer, they have events such as outdoor movies, concerts, or Shakespeare in the park. I haven't mentioned my watch yet that I brought for this trip. This is my new Patek Philippe 5327R. A perpetual calendar, grand complications. I'm still getting to know this watch, and it feels great every day to put this on. 39 millimeter case diameter, rose gold case, a creamy ivory dial, and applied Breguet numerals on the outside. Classic Patek Philippe with the subdials, and a beautifully finished movement seen through the back of the case. And a self-winding micro rotor, which allows for a thinner case design and also to show off the movement even better. It has some heft to it because of the gold case, but it still feels comfortable to wear. And I'm hoping it doesn't stand out too much so I can wear it with my sleeves rolled up. There's a nice coffee shop called Maman Coffee Shop, which is right across the street from Bryant Park, where we picked up some coffee and walked back to sit down. One friend was wearing the Rolex Explorer, which is a classic Rolex watch, and this one is in 36 millimeter, and I think that's the right size. Even though his wrist is larger than mine, it looked good on his wrist. The other was wearing his Vacheron Overseas with the blue dial, and they both got these from their authorized dealer. This has a beautiful blue dial, and this is actually a 34 millimeter, but it's a good size because it wears larger. It wears more like a 36 millimeter. An elegant sports watch because it's also thin, and I think this can go under the radar. But since we stayed so long, I missed my late lunch reservation, so I had to find somewhere else to eat on short notice, and I went with Skirt Steak. They're known for having just one single fixed price menu, which includes a salad, skirt steak, and unlimited fries. Normally $45, except $35 on certain hours. And you can order some other sides for extra, including corn on the cob, garlic bread, or cheese potatoes. The salad and bread comes out very quickly. The salad was good, but it was just greens and dressing, and it could have been better with just a few more vegetables, such as tomatoes or cucumbers or carrots. The small baguette type of bread was also good, but nothing special. It was crispy on the outside and chewy on the inside. The steak can only be ordered as rare, medium, or well done, so I chose the medium. A skirt steak is not the best cut of meat to have with a steak, and it's not the greatest to have alone. I think it would go better with a taco. They did the best they could have done with this cut of meat, but this was not one of the best steaks I've had. And the fries were also decent, but nothing special. You are allowed to have unlimited fries, but I did not even finish half of the first portion. Final bill was $48.99, which then came to $57.99 with the tip. The final activity of the day is going to the top or almost to the top of the Empire State Building. After buying the ticket, which was around $80, you're allowed to walk through the museum and then go up the elevators.